So following on from the Xabi Alonso tactic video I did a couple of months ago, I decided to use that base tactic in this save with Manchester United. It's a rebuild, 5 seasons using Xabi Alonso's tactic, and over the course of the 3.5 seasons, I have just tweaked and got it going where it is absolutely flying. So today I'm going to show you and share with you this 3-4-3. We are currently top of the Premier League, 10 points clear, 69 goals scored in 25 games, only 2 defeats and only 16 goals. Not bad for a tactic that has 3 at the back and only 3 players in those attacking areas. All right, so I'm going to go through everything today. As always, thank you very much for the Patreons. You will get this folder across on the Patreon, link down in the description if you want to support the channel. If not, don't worry everyone, we're going to go through all the team and player instructions so you can get to play a little bit of a Xabi 3-4-3 in your FM24 save. I am also going to be using this in my live stream comps next week on the Road to Legends. I'm that confident of how well it will perform. All right, let's go. Okay, so it is off the basis of 3-4-3 that I've been doing with the Manchester United rebuild series, all based on trying to rebuild Manchester United squad around a 3-4-3 or a 3-4-2-1. We started with like a very much the replication that I did in the video that I said at the start. However, we've tweaked it just to make it a little bit more FM friendly. And a couple of roles in particular that I've tweaked in order to get the best out of players such as Frimpong. So in my original replication, it actually looked like this. This was the first replication that I think I had with the role of Frimpong in here. We also had a replication that looked a little bit like that as well. But we've kind of settled on this 3-4-3, and in particular, as I said, the wing-back role, because Frimpong is such a unique role at Leverkusen, I was struggling to get the best out of him. However, one little change to the Todibo role, the right centre-back role, has been absolutely key. All right, so as you can see, it's been racked up. Like, there's lots of goals, but more importantly, just clean sheets. Clean sheets galore, winning comfortably in games, dominating games. I don't have a world-class striker. We're always underperforming our XG as well. But as you can see, like Liverpool, 6-0, loads of goals, loads of clean sheets. Let's go and see how we put it together. Okay, so sweeper keeper, on attack, no player instructions. If there's any player instructions, I will highlight them as we go, but nothing there for Onana. The right centre-back role is wide centre-back on attack. Now, the reason why we had it on support with that side, with the left-hand side on defence, but I've decided to tweak it. Because now Todibo gets into these areas here, it naturally just pushes on Frimpong an extra 20 yards up the pitch. He was kind of coming not really deep for the ball, but he was getting in these areas in build-up. But because we build up from the back, as soon as Martinez gets it, he kind of sets off just Todibo at times, and that just releases Frimpong. And as you can see, his attacking performance this season has been so much better. 14 assists in 28 games, compared to the 16 in 39 that he had last year. So that's always a thing. Like the Frimpong role is so unique to Leverkusen. As I said, he basically plays, if we go back to, where is it, the first tactic, this one here, like this is the Leverkusen. We're talking, obviously, you've got your deep line playmaker in Granit Xhaka, and then he plays so high, Frimpong. So to change it round, I said it's now that wide centre-back on attack, and it has absolutely worked. But the best thing is, with the first tactic, you don't get his cover. You don't come in here to making as a right back. That was the issue as well in transitions. Now that he's playing as a wing back, his natural thing, even though he gets higher, his natural thing is to try and at least get back in to make a back 4 or even a back 5 at times. Moving into the middle of the 3, we've gone ball playing defender on cover. That is generally Jonathan Tah. And on the left hand side, we've got the Tapsido role, wide centre back on support. With the player instruction, there was dribble more because we want him to, because of the release of Volante. That will then, if he's on the ball, I want him to carry, and that will then push the Volante on to hopefully get involved with those attacking 3. Right back, wing back, have we said, Frimpong. I did have complete wing back, but I just want him to be straight. I want him to be vertical. I don't need him to come in here. I want him just to hit that line and be wide as possible. On the left-hand side, this is the Grimaldo role. Now, he does like to drift. He scored so many goals this year as Grimaldo, and coming into these areas, sort of at the edge of the area. I mean, he must have scored 3 or 4 easy from the edge of the area this season. So, obviously, with a complete wing back, you've got roam from position on. Into the double pivot. Now, this is where it has probably changed a little bit. Like that, yes, is probably the register. Deep line playmaker in Granit Xhaka. Dribble more on that as well because we want Andre to carry with the ball. Really good carrier. And then Neves on the left-hand side, Volante on attack. That would be the sort of like Palacios role, but that's more likely to be a Volante on support or sort of like a ball-winning midfielder. Into the front three, we have got sort of the Boniface role, pressing forward on attack. We've got Kvaratskhelia, who has been, he is a good player in FM, but we're not really suiting his, we're playing him as a playmaker, but he has scored 11 and then 10 assists in nearly, 30 games, so doing extremely well on that left-hand side. Get further forward as well and run from position. He'll always, as soon as Ilin gets it, he tucks into these areas here. He's always really narrow. And then the Florian Wirtz role, like the left-hand side, to be fair, is probably the Florian Wirtz role. This role here is is it Jonathan or Jonas Hoffman, the other number 10 that they got in the summer, with the instruction of dribble more, because we know one of his player traits, tries killer balls and then runs with the ball often. So that's why we've got that on. He's our latest signing in the save. And then as I said up front, Boniface pressing forward. That can be advanced forward. It can be leap forward as well on attack, because he does lead the line superbly well. Right, attacking, we want it to be risky. We want it, because we've got that back three base, we want to take risks, basically. We want to be exciting. I found on positive, we were kind of dominating the ball, but we were a little bit too safe with it. So obviously the mentality, guys, is all about risk. How many more risks to your teammate? The further you go down the list towards the attacking end, the more risk they'll take, so more likely the possession will get turned over. But it's worked superbly well. Obviously, our defensive record as well, as you've seen, means that it's a nice little balance, maybe with the back three, the two holders, and then the attacking players in the final third. Shorter passing, fairly wide attacking width, standard tempo, nothing too absolutely, because I do want us to dominate. I always like possession numbers in FM, so that's why I've tweaked it a little bit from the original. Working to the box, you could take that off if you have an outstanding number 9, just because I've got Wirtz and Kvaratskhelia. I want them working these little areas. I don't really want him crossing. Obviously, at times as well, because of the players we've got, if we're crossing from deep areas, we're probably going to be crossing to one. We have Marcus Rashford up there as well, who is not great at heading. He can probably head it, to be fair, in the game, but he's not amazing. So we don't want to pumping the ball into a Marcus Rashford. Is not going to work. So that's why we've got working to the box on. Run at defence, yes, with two wing backs. We want Wirtz doing it, we want Kvaratskhelia doing it, we want Rashford doing it, we want Højlund doing it as well. Neves in the volante role, we want them running at the defence and be more expressive, because we want to just express ourselves. We want to be brilliant on the ball. We've got the players to do it as well, even in the deeper positions. In transition, counter press and counter with distribute to centre-backs and take short kicks. So we're always building with that back three, because we're always going to have that overload in there. And then out of possession, high press, much higher line. We've really gone for it this season to press and be as aggressive. I think if we don't do it, the tactic can then come quite defensive. If you go to like a mid-block, your defenders will often kind of sit in, be like a back five. That's also important why the counter press on, so you don't allow your fullbacks to sit in, because once you get them fullbacks in, it's going to be really easy to play around you if you're pressing high. So we're going to press high quickly with the counter press and try and win it back, and try not to get our wing backs having to sit back in to make a back five. Step up more as well, so overly aggressive. Let's very quickly go and see some of the goals that we've been scoring recently. So this one in particular, when the ball does come out, look at Tadibio's role. That's because he's on wide centre-back on attack, and he's making, if we just bring it back, look, just a little bit, you could see like he's out of shot, and then he's off, because he's on attack, he wants to get involved. Like, if he didn't do that run and he was staying back here, it would probably mean that Frimpong would have to drop in maybe into this area here. So it's good that he's doing that. It keeps Frimpong really high. An outlet on this right-hand side. Tadibo goes all the way himself. He's nothing more of a decoy, it is Frimpong. Good cross for Tadibo. Obviously, you need a player that can move and dribble and have a little bit of technical ability. Right, at the moment, Garnacho's playing as a wing-back. We've got Vanna is the sort of like the right central attacking role. Mount is the advanced playmaker, and there is Rashford, the centre forward. Now these two are going to combine. Our two tens combine here. You see, he's still quite not laboured, Mount, but he's holding his run, and he gets into the spaces. Look, and then he's going to drive in, and it's a lovely little cross. Obviously, Vanna's on attack as well, so he's going to get into the area. But Mount just starts that playmaker. They do like to just drop off a little bit more. And then obviously because he's on attack, he'll then generally drive into space. Let's go and see how we smashed Liverpool. Just watch how good we are in transitions. Let's have a look at Kvaratskhelia, because this is the role that I'm talking about. But even though he's on this left-hand side, because he's doing the Wirtz role, we want him in the half spaces. We want him in the pockets. We don't want him hugging the touchline. And he comes alive. Look, Neves into Kvaratskhelia. Look how narrow he is. Now, obviously, he's going to play through Rashford in a minute, but he's obviously now created the space. Because he's come inside, Gomez has tucked in narrow, and then we've got Mo Salah. We know what Mo Salah's like. Look, he's thinking, shit, I'm going to have to chase it in here. We have the overlap if necessary. It could go into Rashford, then come back out. Kvaratskhelia could turn. He could maybe even pop it off to Ignacio, and then he could force the ball through. We've got plenty of options there. But in the end, because of Kvaratskelia's obviously skill, he finds Rashford, who's high. We've got pace, brilliant break, brilliant transition. We're in, and Rashford, bloody hell, he scores with his left foot. And the last one is going to be Neves. He's going to be the goal scorer. So this is our shape at the moment. We've got Luke Shaw, Ignacio, Milenkovic, Frimpong, Todibo. We're a little bit all over the place here. I think Luke Shaw is probably the left wing back. Garnacho is playing as the left side. He's coming for Kvaratskhelia. I think he's heavily involved, so we'll highlight him and Neves. So we win back possession, and then it's a quick transition. This is the counter look. Can we get the ball forward? Can we take risks on that attacking? And then because Neves is on attack, he holds his run. I do like this about FM, that the runs are just seem to be a little bit more clever at times. Garnacho holds the ball, looking for a pass. Neves is then in. Hits it really well and scores. But what I do like, look at the rest defence with Ignacio. That's the wide centre-back on support getting involved. There's Frimpong in the box. There's Vanna, the number 10, in the box. We've got plenty of players. But if the ball's cleared out, we've got Vifa, who's the deep line playmaker on support. So we've got plenty of options to try and stop a potential counter-attack. We've also got a 2v1 back here out of the way. All right, guys, that is it. I said it's a Xabi Alonso, not pure recreation. I have done that, so check that out on the channel. But I've kind of moulded it into a really effective 3-4-3 for Football Manager 2024.